The administration has said, and you said again in your testimony today, that there will be no legally binding security commitment, either in a standalone security agreement or as part of a broader framework agreement. When I say security commitment, I mean an obligation that the United States respond to an attack on Iraq by using the armed forces of the United States, or considering an attack on Iraq as an attack on the United States. Can you confirm that there will be no such commitment?
I can so confirm, Mr. Chairman.
In addition to security commitments that have been approved with Senate advice and consent, however, past administrations have often described security arrangements as a pledge by the United States to take some action in the event of a threat to another country's security. An arrangement covers a broader set of commitments which can be in legally binding or non-legally binding form. They also cover a wide range of potential actions, from a mere requirement consult promptly to a more robust obligation for the United States, for example, to, quote, take measures it deems appropriate, which may include diplomatic, economic, and military measures, unquote. I understand the administration may offer to enter into such an agreement with Iraq as a way of fulfilling the pledge contained in the Declaration of Principles. Can you confirm that any such arrangement will be public and will not be secret?
I can, Mr. Chairman.
Can you state whether any such arrangement will be legally binding or will be part of the non-binding framework agreement that has been discussed in the press? For that matter, will the strategic framework be legally binding?
Mr. Chairman, at present we contemplate the Status of Forces Agreement to be a legally binding executive agreement in form. With respect to the strategic framework, we do not at this stage contemplate it as a legally binding agreement. Should that change in the course of the discussions, we will, of course, so inform the Congress and will take appropriate measures in accordance with our constitutional provisions. But that is not our intent as we enter these negotiations.
As you assure us that it is not legally binding, can you assure us that it will be part of a separate agreement and not part of any Status of Forces agreement?
We contemplate, Mr. Chairman, as my testimony noted, two separate agreements, a Status of Forces agreement, a strategic framework. They are parallel discussions. They both are associated one with the other in that the strategic framework provides, if you will, the context for the Status of Forces agreement. They are separate, however.
What do you think Mr. Maliki's understanding of the agreement is?
I believe, Mr. Chairman, that Prime Minister Maliki's understanding of the content of the Declaration of Principles, that his understanding of our intent, of the President's intent, as we enter these negotiations on the strategic framework, is that the United States believes its interests, as well as the interests of Iraq, the region, and the international community, are supported by a continued engagement of the United States, military and civilian, in support of the goal of a stable, secure, and peaceful Iraq. He is correct in that understanding.
Let me be a little bit more specific. Is there any way in the world that he thinks that we are going to defend Iraq if Iraq is attacked?
Mr. Chairman, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of State, the President, the Vice President, in all of their conversations with the Prime Minister and other senior Iraqi officials have been quite clear on what our intent is in Iraq, what our obligations are in Iraq, and what they are not. I do not believe such a potential misunderstanding exists.
Has this been explicitly explained to him that if Iraq is attacked, that we have no obligation to enter into any combat missions?
Secretary of Defense has made very clear exactly those points.
And Mr. Maliki is satisfied with
We-
that assurance, or
we-
non-assurance, or lack of assurance?
Prime Minister Maliki is
What does
strongly...
he think he's signing?
Mr. Chairman, Prime Minister Maliki is strongly supportive, as we understand, for the initiation of the negotiations about to begin on exactly the basis which I have described to you.
What will happen if Iraq is attacked?
Mr. Chairman, as would be the case of an attack on any friend and partner of the United States, the administration would have to consider, in consultation with the Congress, what would be the best measures to take in defense of the United States' interests in such an eventuality.
If Iraq is attacked, are you stating uncategorically that the administration will take no action
Mr. Chairman,
until an appropriate course of action is decided in consultation with the Congress?
Mr. Chairman, the administration will act as any administration would act
I'm
in
afraid of
defense
that.
of U.S. interests.